The index within Fishing Simulator is a collection of all the fish that you have caught, ranging from small, simple fish like this to massive mutated ones like this. And actually completing the entire index is a massive goal that so many people strive for, but not many people complete. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to complete indexes as fast as you can, so you don't waste any more time struggling and wondering what to do. So here is a simple breakdown of indexes in this game, for those of you that don't know. Each island within the game has their own set index. So for example, the starter island called Port Jackson has its own index right here. And you could see this is all the fish that you can catch from this island specifically. And if we take a look at each individual fish, you're going to notice that there is a lot going on. We have regular, common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, mythic, like there's so much going on. But what does this actually mean? So every single fish has the ability to be caught in mutations. And these are all the mutations that I was just talking about. So anything that is not the regular base fish, something that's glowing or has a unique look to it compared to how it usually looks, that is going to be a mutation. And the game makes it pretty obvious when you catch one. Now also within all these fish and their mutations is their sizes. Now you could see that there is regular, large, huge, baby, and small sizes for every single fish and every single mutation. Before I continue any further, I do want to mention that this does not apply to Midas mutations. Midas only has one size, and it does not count towards the index. So don't worry about trying to catch a Midas if you're going for the index, because they do not apply at all. And this is very important, because to actually complete the index, you need to catch every single size for every single fish. Now that's if you're looking to complete the index as a whole, which not many players will do or want to, because it is pretty hard. But what a lot of you are probably after is something like the index rewards. So the rewards for the index are these unique, really cool items that give you a good boost in any specific area. So what I mean by that is, let's take a look at Port Jackson. The reward for Port Jackson is the Key to the City Rod, which gives you a bonus 15% mutation chance and a bonus 50% huge and baby chance. So something like this will be very helpful when you're trying to catch really cool and rare fish. But to actually complete this index and receive its reward, you're going to notice that you have to catch every size of all regular fish and catch all sizes of fish for any 3 mutations. What that basically means is that all the fish you're seeing for Port Jackson, you have to catch every single size for its regular fish. And once you have done that, you will then unlock the mutation boost. Then you will move on to the second section of the Port Jackson index, where you're going to want to go after these mutations and get all the sizes for all these mutations. Now reminder, it says catch all sizes of fish for any 3 mutations. So you don't need to fully complete every single fish with all their sizes and all their mutations. You only need 3. So for example, this stonefish, it can be common glow, uncommon glow, and rare glow. Now as long as you catch all the sizes for these 3 mutations, that's all you need. And then you're going to go ahead and do this for every single fish in Port Jackson. And once you've done that, then you unlock the index reward. So it's pretty simple. It's not a hard process. It's just a very lengthy one. It will take a long time to do this. Some people, it takes them 2 weeks if they're really dedicated. Some people, it takes them 2 months. Like me, it took me like 2 to 3 months to do this because I just wasn't that focused on it. And I didn't really know how important it was back then either. So now that we understand how the index works, I have to mention special fishing areas. Special fishing areas are pretty much as the name implies. They're areas within a specific island that you can catch unique fish in. And you actually need to complete quests every time you go into one of these areas. So for example, Port Jackson, the starter island, you need to complete this Crystal Mines quest. And the game guides you through it. If you track the quest, it'll pretty much tell you everywhere you need to go and everything you need to do. So it's not hard, and the game makes it very easy for you to go through this process. And it's really not even a process. Usually the quests are pretty easy. So for Port Jackson, all I have to do is just cross this river, pull the lever, and that's it. That's all I have to do. So for people who don't have a glider, you're gonna have to do some parkour, but because I have a glider, I can just fly right over it. And now I'm going to pull this lever. So there you go. It unlocked the special fishing area. And now I'm going to go back. So this was previously blocked off, but now I can go down this hallway, or I guess this cave, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to come down here and boom, there you go. Now I can fish for exactly 1 hour in the special fishing area. And that actually reminds me, you can only fish in the special fishing area for 1 hour at a time. Then once the 1 hour is up, it will kick you out of the special fishing area and it will be on cooldown for the quest. So it'll take 30 minutes or more for, I don't know exactly how long, but it takes a little bit for the quest to show back up. Then you do it again, and then you can come back to the special fishing area. So in this area for Port Jackson specifically, you can catch stonefish, blind cavefish, porgy, and these two others. So basically half of the Port Jackson index is inside of this cave. So you can't avoid these special fishing areas. You need to get these done if you want to get index rewards. So you may be thinking, I understand how the index works now, and I understand what you need to do in order to complete it, but it's still so hard to do. Is there any faster way to complete this? Well, yes, there is. This is why the video has its title. I'm going to show you guys the fastest possible way to complete the index. So starting off with rods. What rod do you need to complete the index? Well, if I'm being truthful, any rod would work, literally any rod, but there's some in particular that make it just a bit easier. Something like the Heart of the Forest rod. So this is a rod that is given through the Wandering Merchant, and it's not too hard to get. I'm pretty sure it's a very cheap price, maybe 60 shards or less. Honestly, I think it's less than that. So that's just completing a few weekly quests. But what makes this rod so special and so good for completing the index is that it gives you a 5% mutation chance. And we know that mutations are so important because we need a lot of them. So having a 5% boost will make it much easier as opposed to not having a 5% boost. And also this rod has 35% rarity. That is a lot of rarity chance. So getting those more difficult fish like mythicals or legendaries is going to be much easier with a rod like this. But if you don't have that rod, a good option would be something like the Ancient Sword, because this one is pretty fast. It has 20 reeling speed and it also gives you 30 rarity chance. So basically the main things you want to focus on for your stats is going to be rarity chance and mutation chance. However, this only applies to players who don't have really good rods already. For example, the Cephalo rod, which is busted, such an amazing rod that gives you 38 rarity chance and 50% baby and huge chance. This would obviously be better than say something like the Ancient Sword. And also real quick, I don't know if I mentioned this, but catching the baby or huge sizes for any fish is the hardest size to get, as any fish has a 5% chance of being either a baby or a huge. So having a rod like the Cephalo rod or Key to the City rod is going to help tremendously, because getting those variations are not easy at all. Now moving on to the pets. What pets should you go for? So pretty much you just want any mythical pet, because all mythic pets have the same exact stats, that being 5 rarity, 5 bait size, 5 mutation chance, and 5 hook speed. All of these stats will help you out with the index, especially that 5% mutation chance. That's like the main thing that sticks out, but having the other stats does help out as well. So definitely have this equipped. If you don't have a mythic pet, then just go with the best pet that you have, but you really do want to try to get these mythics because they are better for fishing than say something like a legendary pet. And that's pretty much it for the pets. It's very simple. Not much really goes into these. Moving on to the baits, it kind of depends on where you're at with your index and which baits are going to be useful to you. So if you're not really sure where to start with baits and you really haven't worked towards your index that much, I would recommend something like high quality bait, because if we look at the stats, it gives you plus 3% rare fish chance, plus 5% baby fish chance, and plus 5% huge fish chance. So obviously catching more rare fish is going to be a good thing. And like we had mentioned before, baby and huges are the hardest variations to catch, and this is going to help you do it. But let's say you're a little further into the index and you know exactly which variations you need. Say it's the stingray and you need a baby size of the common glow for the stingray. I'm just giving an example. Well, if we need the baby size, then we would use something like fly bait, because fly bait gives you a plus 20% chance for baby fish. Or say you needed the large variation for that same stingray, you would use the Moby's teeth bait, which gives you a 20% bonus to large fish. So I'm sure you get the point of baits by now. It kind of just depends on where you're at and what fish you need, and that's really for you to decide. I can't personally tell you which ones you should be using because I don't know where you're at in the index. Do you need a bunch of baby fish? Do you need a bunch of huge fish? I don't know. So that's what you're gonna have to check, and you're gonna have to make that decision. So now moving on to the boats. This is where things get pretty interesting. Boats in this game are so good when it comes to boosting your stats for fishing. For example, take this new Snow Glow boat that we just received in the previous Wandering Merchant. This one one gives you a rarity boost of 10% and a reeling speed boost of 10% as well. And there are a plethora of boats in this game that help boost your stats. A really cheap and easy one to get is something like the fishing boat, which increases your hook speed up to 50%. Now, while speed doesn't really matter for the index, if you don't have any other boats that boost your stats, why not use this one? Now, there are two boats in particular that are really good for indexes. The first one is going to be the houseboat, which gives you an additional 25% rarity chance, which is honestly kind of nuts. Many people love this boat and use this boat a lot because it is very useful. And then the other boat that is going to be fantastic for indexes is going to be the Marianne boat. Now, this boat is actually a reward from the Monsters Burrow index. So if you're watching this video, you probably don't have this boat, but if you can find somebody with this boat or a friend that has it that'll let you use it, that will be huge. That will help you out tremendously. And the reason for that is because it has two specialties. Specialty 1 is rarity chance plus 10%, and specialty 2 is mutation chance plus 10%. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's pretty good, but it's really nothing too crazy. Wait, it doesn't end there. So this specialty, this boost in stats, actually increases with each person that goes on the boat. If you are fishing by yourself, you're going to get that 10% increase in rarity and mutation chance. Well, let's say you have two friends that join you, and now there's 3 people on the boat. Now you're getting an additional 30% for both of those stats. This actually maxes out at 4 people, so 40%. But if you have 4 people on this boat, that is plus 40% rarity chance and plus 40% mutation chance. I don't think it takes a genius to realize that that's insane. And this is why this boat is so good and so sought after, is because it gives insane boosts to fishing. So catching rare mutated fish on this boat, it will be a breeze. It really won't be that hard. And if you're combining these stats with some other rods, baits, and pets that I just talked about, you're going to have a much easier time completing any index. Now, moving on to the next section of this video, which this is underlooked by a lot of people, but it's actually the order in which you complete the indexes. This actually matters. If you want to be as efficient as possible and have the easiest time with this game, you shouldn't go for something like the UFO boat from the Pharaoh's Dunes index, because this boat is not going to help you with your index at all. So the first index that you should complete is the Port Jackson index, because it gives you this rod that increases your mutation chance and increases your baby and huge chance. This will carry over to every single other index in this game. This is a permanent boost that will always help you out. So once you obtain the Port Jackson index reward, then you can move on to something like Monsters Burrow, which is the second index that you should go for after Port Jackson. Why? Because of the utility and the stats that we just talked about. The Marianne is the best fishing boat in the entire game without a doubt, and having this at your disposal will make your progression so much faster and more enjoyable. But once you get the key to the city rod and the SS Marianne, then it doesn't matter. It does not matter what you go for after this. You can go for the UFO boat, you can go for Ancient Shores, you can even go over to Timeless Tides and do whatever there. It doesn't matter. So remember, Port Jackson first, Monsters Burrow second, and then whatever else afterwards. Now going into the final section of this video, I'm going to teach you guys a little trick that you probably don't know about. So I'm going to hop on my penguin boat and I'm going to come out into this water, and a little trick that I like to use is called target fishing. Now, what target fishing is kind of like what the name implies. You're targeting a specific fish that you need to catch. So I'm taking a look at my Port Jackson index and I see that I need the swordfish as a legendary mutation and the baby variation of this. So if I need this one specific pet, what I can do is I can go ahead, take out my rod, throw it, and then I look underwater, and you're going to notice that you can actually see every single fish that pops up. Now, you can't see their mutations, you can't see their sizes, but you can see which fish you're going to get. So I could just, actually I just realized I'm in the ocean, but I'm going to wait till I see that stingray, and then I'm going to fish it when it shows up. I just realized,
I fucked that, bro, damn.
I don't know why I was calling it stingray. I was talking about the swordfish. And there we go. Finally found a swordfish. Took a little bit. And you could just keep on doing this over and over until you get the fish that you need. And this is actually the exact method that I used to complete my first ever index. It is a little bit tedious though, because you do have to just sit there and wait for the fish to show up. And sometimes it might not show up for like 2 minutes at a time, but it would be faster if you were just fishing every single thing that went on your line, because if you're catching everything that goes on your hook, it's obviously going to take way more time because you're reeling it in and wasting time on that when it might not even be fish that you need. And there you have it. This was my comprehensive guide on indexes and how to complete them as fast as possible. possible, and how I was able to complete every single index within Jackson Archipelago. I always feel weird pronouncing that. And almost every index within Timeless Tides. I still haven't finished Nidhogg's Reach, but I'm almost there. And no, I don't have Dolphin's Chariot for those of you wondering. I am kind of getting close though. I'm less than 200 away, which is pretty nice. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting in any way, make sure to leave a like and comment down below. How is your index going? Are you almost done with your first index? Have you completed all of them already? What has been your experience so far? But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.